Well, of course, you all remember the Leland Palmer Shuffle, kind of the reindeer dance. Yeah, great musical moments.
Well, once everybody's all settled in.
Okay. We're all ready except for any questions you may have, anything you might like to know, we could possibly tell you.
This gentleman here, I skipped him last year accidentally, and he called me out on it last night, so I'm coming to him first, so that he gets a question answered.
Okay.
Uh-oh, he's clueless. Stand up.
I'd rather not.
You can also say who you are and where you're from.
Hello, I'm Justin from Texas.
From Texas?
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. Just wanted to know, after the filming Twin Peaks, if you ever had any like dreams about working on the show
Or
after the
nightmares.
fact? Maybe you were in character or something like that, or maybe
Dreams?
maybe you thought you were working on the show still, maybe during making it or after.
That's interesting you should bring that up, because yes, I have.
Okay.
I have had dreams about working on the show still, and I don't think I could really get into them. Because I don't know, they were strange. They were very strange. Not bad, but strange. And have you had dreams?
Nightmares.
Well, I can understand that. What about you, Mike? No, I haven't. Thank God.
I think sometimes actually the filming of it was a surreal dream.
Yes.
And I don't, there's a really brilliant saying, which of course I can't say back to you right now. But it's something about, are you dreaming, or are you the dreamer that's having the dream? That kind of thing. And I think that sometimes doing it there, you were scratching so much beyond the surface into some deep stuff that maybe you weren't even aware of it. And it felt like a dream.
Yeah. Thank you.
I didn't have any dreams for years, but
Oh, nightmares.
I just remembered I had a dream last night that y'all came in my room and woke me up.
Were they in character?
And Jan, what about you? Yeah. Next question? Oh, no. Okay.
Bless you, darling.
This question is for Sherilyn Penn. I also grew up in Michigan for 17 years and then left. Do you miss Faygo and Superman ice cream? And what's your favorite Faygo?
Do I miss?
Faygo and Superman ice cream.
Oh, they go red.
Yes! And Rocket Faygo Red Pop and Drop and Ride. Do you miss it?
Yes!
Oh my God, that's great!
In the orange pop, yes, all of it. And then you come to LA and they're like, can I get some pop? You're like, what?
What?
What are you talking about? Soda.
Do you miss Superman ice cream?
I miss a lot about Michigan, and Michigan in an odd way. For me, was like the little community of Twin Peaks. I mean, that's why, to me, it struck a nerve with people, is because there are so many pockets of these beautiful small little towns with really unique people, really eccentric people, and some funky shit going down. It's okay. This is life. This is life, and I personally think that that's what people responded to.
So you're a Red Pop girl?
A girl, yeah, I like the red pop the best.
Not the rock and ride, the Red Pop?
Sorry.
Not the rock and ride, the Red Pop?
Oh shit, rock and ride was
Nice.
good. Rock and ride is the top
is sort of for everybody. Watching you in both Twin Peaks and other things that you've done, the ferocity of your acting performances, especially in Twin Peaks, has always amazed me. And while I understand that you're professional actors and you bring much of that on your own, I am curious, just from the standpoint of the directing process, especially with David Lynch, what he might do to help bring even more intensity and ferocity to your particular performances, and any of them. I mean, you know, with Jan, brief scenes, it's always very intense, you know. And Cheryl, I couldn't take my eyes off you when you're acting, you know, and editing, just the ferocity and intensity frequently. So I'm curious what any of you might have experiences with David sort of punching you up to that next level of beyond just intense acting. Does that make sense?
I bet.
Yeah,
I
thank
bet.
you. It's a great question. For me personally, the first thing is how safe do I feel with this director? And David has the incredible warmth and good heart to help you feel safe, that you can go to these places. And he does it in a very gentle way. Sometimes I used to joke that he was hypnotizing me, because that's how it felt. That he would just gently, we'd have this thing, especially on Fire Walk with Me, before a scene, if I felt that I needed a little bit of help, I would say, David, can we do a walk and talk? And he would gently take my hand and we would walk off away from everyone, and he would just say, okay, well, you just came from Donna's house and you just saw James. And he talked to me in this very gentle way, and I swear to God, I was completely hypnotized. And then he'd say, action. And he also trusts the people that he hires. He trusts his crew, he trusts his actors. If something didn't feel right to us, instinctively or intuitively, he gave us room to articulate that and to explore that and investigate that. And I wish I could say that it's always that way on a set, and it's rarely that way on a set. And I bless him deeply for it, because he's one of the most incredible teachers that I ever had in terms of filmmaking.
Yes, I echo what Cheryl just said. I know that the first time when I was working with him, and he said, what do you think you should say? And I thought he was, you know, throwing me this trick question to make me look stupid or something. And I thought, you know, here's David Lynch asking me, what do I think I should say in the scene? But that's right, he would talk with you. And so that, and I know the last show that I did when I came back, I was on hold in a hotel room for a couple of days, and there was no script. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And I was really worried about this, because I knew it was the last show. And when I got there, he said the same thing. What do you think you should do? And so it was a very cooperative, safe environment. And sometimes when you go with other directors, you feel sort of this pressure. You feel they're pushing and they want something. And so you give them technique that you learn, not really go to the depth of a character.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
It's her hiccups.
I do that sometimes myself.
I'm so excited that you're here.
David, yeah, I second everything they said. He had an uncanny way of, before I had to do rough stuff, of just saying the right thing to trigger the right kind of response from me. And it was very few words, it was very low-key, very laid back, very casual. And then I would proceed to do the scene and smash things and murder and do all these things. And it all came out of David's one-liners that were just the perfect thing to say before I had to do it. I remember there was one scene that I did where I hold the homecoming picture and I start dancing around in a circle, and then my wife, Grace Zabriskie, the wonderful Grace, tries to stop me, and we smash the picture onto the table, and I cut my thumb. I still have that scar. And I bled on her homecoming picture, and just David just thought that was the greatest thing, that I actually bled for her in that scene. And that's a little something that people don't know about, so I'm telling you for the first time. And then I took that blood, and I started smearing it all over her pretty face, as I remember. And then it went off into some other place, and then I think he yelled cut and we stopped filming. But he was just a master at saying just the right thing to trigger the response from you. I don't know how he does it. He's just a magician out there.
I think Mr. Wise is absolutely living up to his name because he had this uncanny thing. Cheryl and I have a scene in the movie. I just had this one scene. So I was extremely keyed up that day, and I arrived and went through the works, and we went through lunch, we went through the whole afternoon of shooting, we went through the evening, and I was still in my trailer. And I went and knocked on Ms. Lee's door and said, how you doing? She's doing well. But she's working too. But we're keeping it on, I'm keeping it on this, it's called Simmer on an oven. And we finally got to do our scene in the movie at 2:30, 3 a.m. And Mr. Lynch screams at Deepak, his AD, and says, Deepak, how could you schedule the most important scene in the movie at 3 a.m. and reamed him out? Now, this is a very clever director because he got two very tired actors up, by uttering that statement. And then we threw it against the wall, and we were both shaking at the end of the thing. And out of the corner of my eye, I see this movement, and it's David Lynch doing a very tall man's version of a jig. And he was celebrating something that had occurred at that time, and it wasn't just let's move on. So he, in my mind, was an artist.
I think for me this time, that pops out in my head was we were, I think it was either the second or third episode of the first season, and I was supposed to do a scene with Laura, with Donna, and I'd worked with my teacher and I was ready to, do it, and he just pulled out the pages and ripped them up. Oh. I was so devastated. Oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And all my work. And he says, we're going to rewrite this scene right now. We need a cappuccino, and we need to bring him over. And we literally, he sat with Laura and I and rewrote the scene. And at the end, you're going to get up and you're going to just dance. And I'm like, I'm going to what? He's like, we've written you this song and you're just on a groove. And you're like, even if you don't know, there's something, about the man that he goes into it so himself, and he just like brings you into it. And I go, okay, that's what I'll do, and we wrote the scene with two cappuccinos. And it's really, really cool. So that is a genius. There's something there that is absolutely genius.
We would always say that Maryland's going to be a beautiful thing. Ray is going to be a beautiful thing. We would always say that.
So, Sharon, do you remember the scene in Jacques' cabin? Do you remember how long David sat with us in that cabin telling us stories before we started filming? How long? It was ages. Deepak kept coming in. David, we really need to start. David, we really need to start. Oh, wasn't it 45 minutes or an hour of David telling us stories that had nothing to do with what we were about to film, just telling us stories.
I was standing outside the cabin, waiting for them to get it going. I remember that. That was a long night.
But I just have to interject. It's not seemingly nothing about it, but absolutely everything about it, and his personal experience, so that led to get them into a certain space in their heart and in their heads too.
You're right. Right. They were a little bit of paranormal stories in a way, weren't they? Like a kid running. He looked out the back window, saw a kid running, and then there was a space where the kid was disappeared and then reappeared in another part of the yard. Do you remember? That was one of the stories. No, just forever. An hour maybe. Yeah, that's what I remember.
Order a cappuccino, we got some work to do. When the poor agents are running around, scared about fucking cappuccino.
Ray, we're going to put Phoebe and Cheryl Lee on a leash. And you're going to run down the road, and Deepak will hold the flashlight, and it'll be a beautiful thing.
And that is one of the ultimate DKL lines. It'll be a beautiful thing. Right?
That's what I've always said.
Yes, I'm Jason, and I'm from Dayton, Ohio. Although originally from Detroit, Michigan. Sherilyn. First of all, to the entire cast, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. You've given us over 2 decades of joy and success. Thank you so much for giving us. My question is actually for Mr. Von Dolan. Lenny, in 1984, you had the starring role in a wonderful film called Electric Dreams. Starring Virginia Madsen and featuring the vocal talents of Mr. Bud Cork. And I was just wondering, this film is, I don't even think it's ever been released on DVD, but do you have any amusing anecdotes about making that film?
Yes. Well, I was 23 when I turned 24 doing that thing. And it was boot camp, you know. I mean, it was MGM. There was 2 very young people who were entrusted with these parts in a movie that, we were taken very good care of, and we had old school, first-rate people all around us, and we learned, and they were very gentle and encouraging. And I felt very lucky about that. And we shot in London, where they take tea breaks. And that's a terrible, terrible thing to get used to when you're 24. Because they don't do it here. And, but thank you so much for mentioning that movie. Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks everyone for being here. It's
really means a lot to us. We came up from San Diego and actually came from Japan for this, so we really appreciate you guys being here. Anyway, one of my Twitter followers says, do you have any interesting stories about being recognized in public, and do you have any cool, interesting stories to share with us that we can maybe be entertained by?
Ray's got a story. Ray's got a story.
I guess it's me then. I get, it's amazing. You know, Twin Peaks all over the world it was. At different times, I remember being at the Atlanta 1996 Olympics. I was shooting a show down there called Savannah at the time. And it was on the old WB network, and I was at this big gathering at the Olympic City there in this big tent, and James Brown and the famous Flames was playing, and Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen were there to listen to James Brown, and there were these Russian film crews all over the place, shooting here and there, and they found me, and I was trying, you know, to be kind of, you know, nondescript, but they found me, and apparently in 1996, Twin Peaks was a big hit in Russia. You know, many years after we finished filming the series, and so he was asking me all sorts of questions in Russian. And then there was a translator who sort of translated it to me. And I think I gave away who the killer was.
What did he understand?
I'm not sure that I did, but I think that I did. I think I said it was me.
It's you?
And of course, you know, that was old news to me. That was 6, 7 years ago. Not to Russia. They haven't gotten to that part yet. And I thought, how am I going to get out of this? And I started to backtrack, and I started to fall over myself, and I said, well, I mean, it could be me. It couldn't be anybody.
There you go.
And then I said, I hope it's not me. If it's me, I have to leave town. I don't want to leave town. I don't leave these people. I'm having a great time. And you know, I really felt that way. I really felt that way. I did not want to be the murderer of my own daughter. I had a little baby girl at the time. My own daughter, Kinah. And that thought was anathema to me. And I said that to David several times. I said, I hope it's not me. It can't be me. I want it to be me.